VO2 Max intervals workout today. 10-minute warm up, 10-minute cool down, and the workout itself is 4 by 4 minutes on, 2 minutes off at 5-minute 20 pace, which is supposed to be my VO2 Max training pace. Keep watching, find out what the benefits of VO2 Max training is and how to go about them depending on the race distance that you're training for. Beautiful Kira Beach in the background for Coolangatta, Queensland. Here we go for rep 1. That's the first rep down. Didn't catch my pace, didn't monitor it either. But if you know me by now, I prefer to monitor my effort rather than my pace. Felt good. 2-minute recovery. Second rep, up and running. It's a 4th rep down. Happy with the effort. Finish the workout. Into a cool down now. And then let's talk about the benefits of VO2 Max interval training, why you need them in your training, and how to go about including them in your training for different race distances. What is VO2 Max? It's the maximum volume of oxygen your body can utilize during intense or all-out exercise. Your VO2 Max reflects the efficiency of 3 integrated systems. The first of those systems is the lungs and heart. How much oxygen your lungs can take in and how much oxygenated blood your heart can pump. Second system is the circulatory system. How effectively your blood vessels transport that oxygen to working muscles. The third of these systems is the muscular system. How effectively your muscles extract oxygen from the blood to create energy. Now we're going to look at 4 benefits of VO2 Max interval training and then 4 specific benefits of VO2 Max interval training for older runners. First benefit is enhanced performance, raising your aerobic ceiling, making all sub-maximal paces feel easier, and this directly translates into faster race times. Next up are the physiological adaptations. These sessions increase your stroke volume, your heart efficiency, mitochondrial density in your muscles, and capillary growth for better oxygen delivery. Third up is improved running economy. The high speed of interval sessions forces better running form, strengthens your leg muscles, reducing the energy cost of maintaining a given pace. Fourth up is faster recovery. Improved aerobic capacity helps the body clear metabolic waste like lactate more efficiently between hard efforts. Now here are 4 specific benefits of VO2 Max training for older runners. First benefit here for older runners is mitigating age-related decline. Your VO2 Max naturally declines by about 10% every decade after the age of 30. High intensity training can slow this process and you can still manage to improve your VO2 Max with high intensity training. Next up for older runners is longevity and health span. High cardiorespiratory fitness or higher VO2 Max is a strong indicator of lifespan. It can also reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and some cancers. Third up for older runners is functional independence. Improving oxygen efficiency makes going about daily tasks like carrying the groceries or walking upstairs less taxing and preserving quality of life into your later years. Fourth benefit up for older runners is maintenance of muscle power. These intervals help combat age-related muscle loss by recruiting and strengthening powerful muscle fibers not used in easy running or jogging. Now, let's look at the structure of VO2 Max interval session and why we structure VO2 Max interval sessions this way. There are 4 things we need to consider when it comes to structuring a VO2 Max intervals session. The intensity, the work duration per interval, the recovery period, and the total work volume at high intensity. For intensity, we're looking at high effort, 90 to 95% of your maximum heart rate, somewhere around your 3K to 5K race pace. And you should be able to sustain this pace or effort for 6 to 8 minutes. For the work duration, intervals generally last anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. For recovery periods, you want a 1-to-1 to 2-to-1 ratio with that hard work duration. An example of that could look like 4 minutes at high intensity interval and a 3-minute recovery jog. You don't want your recovery to be a full recovery. You don't want to drop your heart rate that much because each interval you want to bring your heart rate up that little bit more. But we'll talk about that more in a moment. For total volume, you want 12 to 15 minutes of high intensity work. But as with all quality hard workouts, make sure you include a warm up and a cool down with your workout. And in that warm up, because you're going to be going hard and you're going to be opening up, make sure you do your drills and mobility. Get ready for that hard work. Now I'm going to give you 4 reasons why VO2 Max interval training is structured this way. Number one is oxygen kinetic delay. What this means is it takes 1 to 2 minutes for you to reach your peak maximum oxygen consumption. If your intervals are any shorter than this, you might not actually reach your VO2 max level. Number two is accumulated time at limit. What this means is running continuously at this high intensity for 6 minutes or longer is going to cause excessive fatigue and form deterioration. So what we're able to do is actually able to log a longer time by breaking it up into intervals for the workout than if we were to run one single run at this particular intensity. The third reason that VO2 max intervals are structured this way is for the incomplete recovery. By having that shorter recovery time, we don't drop back to a fully recovered heart rate. It remains slightly elevated so that on each successive interval, we reach that max heart rate sooner. You can see on the sample chart here, where on each interval, it's like a step back down for an incomplete recovery, but I'm able to reach that max heart rate sooner and actually get that heart rate nice and elevated. Fourth reason for the interval structure is the physiological adaptations. The stresses of intervals forces the heart to increase its stroke volume, how much blood it pumps per heartbeat, prompting the muscles to develop more mitochondria in order to process that oxygen into more energy. Now we're going to look at the training frequency. How often should you include VO2 max interval sessions in your training? And we're also going to look at when you should time that training of VO2 max interval training and how into training blocks for specific race distances. Training frequency for VO2 max interval sessions are as follows. For beginner runners, once per week. That allows for 48 to 72 hours recovery in between high quality, higher intensity training sessions, because you also have, on top of VO2 max training, lactate threshold training and speed sessions. For advanced runners, they can include VO2 max training sessions up to 3 times per week, especially as you're getting closer or when you're in that race prep part of your training block. For maintenance, you could do VO2 max interval sessions every 2 to 3 weeks. Here are the race distances with the training frequency of VO2 max interval sessions and when you should emphasize VO2 max interval training in your training blocks. 5K to 10K should be doing VO2 max interval sessions once per week, but you can emphasize that and step it up a bit when it comes to those 3 weeks prior to your race or when you're in that race prep phase of your training block. Half marathon to marathon, you want to emphasize VO2 max interval training early in your training block in that aerobic base building phase to hit that ceiling. So you want at least once a week, maybe even twice a week in that early build phase. And then after that, as little as every 3 weeks, you could then include a VO2 max interval session. The key is finding that VO2 max ceiling or raising the VO2 max ceiling early in your training block, then maintaining it from there as you concentrate more on your endurance and stamina. For ultramarathoners, you want to hit VO2 max interval training once or twice a week, but that's in the early stages of your training block for the marathon before you really switch to that volume emphasis in your training. You want to raise your VO2 max ceiling in the early stages of your training and then maintain it from there. These are the VO2 max interval training sessions that I've personally used throughout my running journey and continue to use. And I also use and incorporate into the training of my student athletes at school. So for beginners or those that are new to VO2 max interval training, I'd start with 6 times, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. For intermediate runners, or as you're finding that you're handling that 2 minute on, 1 minute off comfortably, then I'd step it up to 5 by 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off. And then the next step after that is 4 by 4 minutes on, 3 minutes off. If you are walking all or most of your recovery period, then you need to back it off. You're going too hard. I would suggest that you're going beyond your 90 to 95% maximum heart rate. What you should be able to do is at least half of that recovery period, be able to jog that into the next interval start. Another thing I like to emphasize with VO2 max interval training sessions, it's about effort and duration. You're not chasing paces in this. Yes, you want a consistent effort, and that'll give you some feedback data on whether you're going faster or slower on each interval, but you want to maintain effort. It's about getting your heart rate up to that
90 to 95% of your maximum heart rate on each interval. Your pace just has too many variables.
Now you know why VO2 Max is the ceiling of your potential and how to raise it. Remember, these sessions are potent, so treat them with respect and don't overdo it. If this deep dive helped you understand your running engine better, please hit that like button so more runners can find this video and find out why VO2 Max training is so important and how to include it in their training. For more smart, faith-filled training tips, make sure you subscribe to the Mustard Seed community. Please hear me out here. You can't run at VO2 Max every day. The secret to absorbing this hard work is actually mastering your easy days. Click this video here where I show you how to nail your easy runs so you're fresh and ready to crush those VO2 Max intervals. Run strong, run with purpose. God bless. Jason out.